And I don't massively like the Swain here in response almost immediately. I feel like Swain you want to be picking up a bit later into the draft into kind of some shorter range compositions. But I think heralding that kind of change almost immediately is a bit worrying.
And now, two champions coming through. With the Misfortune, you usually kind of play towards the weak side. It's something that, even from a 2v2's perspective, actually, Matty has picked up quite frequently down towards the bottom side in the LEC as well. And obviously, the Swain, big flex pick so far. And probably not going AD now that the Misfortune has been locked in. And over on the side of BDSA, very interesting to see Orn pick this early in the rotation, but we have seen in the past that it's a champion that BDSA really prefers, and just having that top side to play for with Adam obviously liking an aggressive matchup kind of can mitigate some of the pressure coming through a player like Adam.
Yeah, I think also no surprise to see that Orn coming out from LDLC. Um, it's been a champion we know they have a lot of priority towards. I remember speaking to Yike a few weeks ago. He's like, "Yeah, we just think this champion is really broken." They continue to pick it early in their draft phase. I'm pretty sure it might have been Beatus that they played against in the first round robin that they actually B1 Orn against.
And yeah, I also have to say, of course, once again, the draft being on different sides of where the team logo is always messes up with my perception a little bit. But having the on blind pick obviously comes through with the Camille as a response instead. That
Yeah.
kind of speaks to me that you want to drop the Misfortune down towards the bottom side as a kind of weak sider. You get priority into the Rakan, where you can just either pick Nautilus or Leona. You can let that roam around if you want to. Kind of mitigates the 2v2, and then it kind of becomes a roaming game instead. And now with 80 carries not being picked, they can suddenly start to take away some of Exakick's pool here as well. Ezreal taken away as one of the champions that kind of opens up for the roam timings with Rakan. And other champions right now that currently would allow him to move around. Can't really think of too many who'd grade in like the weak side in option. There's still Callista if you want to play the 2v2, but I don't think we'll be seeing that from Exakick this time around.
I think I'm not sure. It depends. I feel like LDLC being such a malleable team that can kind of bend and contort into different directions. I actually wouldn't be massively surprised to see that Callisto. I feel like they would then have to draft a jungler that can like kind of facilitate that playstyle. I feel like you probably see Yike on more of a low econ style, but yeah, like you're saying, they're kind of being pigeonholed in a certain direction. I feel like almost.
Yeah, let's look at the thematic though, right? Because currently from LDLC, it's all about outranging their opponents,
Yeah.
right? You get the Corky, you get the long engage, you get from Ornn as well. So like you want to stay from longer, like far away. And so I don't think Callista kind of breaks that theme because suddenly you have to walk in towards the enemy champions. And you don't want to be walking into a Misfortune. You don't want to be walking into the Swain and potentially this Trundle if it is locked in. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they'll round out that bot lane with allowing themselves to get some power picks coming through here. Lucian is still up and available. The only reason I'd see this champion coming through is because you can garner some bot lane priority in the early game, and that would open up for Ica to or DOS rather to run around the map. But speaking of champions that could gain priority, quite a few up in the likes of Draving too. But no, it is going to be that weak side of the Jhin. Albeit, I'm not the biggest fan of Jhin. I think he's a very easy champion to punish. I see support counter pick going over to the side of BDSA as well. They already have the Trundle. This bot lane can completely get wrecked from the side of BDSA if they're moving forward with the aggression. But LDLC, and speaking of aggression, Yike gets the Karsak locked in.
I really like this pick from Yike. It's a champion we've seen him kind of pull to. I believe he played it against the semi-finals against AJ Rogue at EU Masters. We saw him in it. We also saw him play it previously in this split. And I can't remember who it was against, but it was that game very much where they were behind a lot of gold. He comes in, steals the soul, I believe, or steals the elder, and then continually just finds these kind of clutch factor picks. Kha'Zix, in contrast, a lot of the junglers, you're not going to be getting a very fast clear. I think the fastest clear you can do on this champ is like 320, 325. So you're not really playing for that first camp kind of domination. You more want to scale up and towards that level 6 mark and then start to have more and more impact. You can have so much utility in terms of the builds and the playstyles you can go. That yeah, really big fan of him on this pick specifically.
Yeah, and like talking just about stylistic and what we want to see from these compositions while they are locked in now. I think I don't think, but there's definitely plays to be had in the early game from the side of BDSA, right? You have to set up in the mid lane with the Swain E coming through, where you can get the Trundle pillar on top to kind of deny the Valkyrie. So I think for sure that Corky, Ica has to stay on touch with what he's really bringing to that laning phase. Be sure not to overextend, because if you get caught with just one click too far forward, could mean your death. And down towards the bottom side as well. Yes, you want to open up the bot side with the Rakan, but if the Rakan suddenly leaves the lane and the wave state is kind of bad for the Jhin, well, all of a sudden you will just get dove because he doesn't have too much mobility in that kit. Yes, you'll
It's
have
not
the
like
flash.
that Ezreal. Yeah.
It's definitely not. Like, the fact that you're a stationary champion definitely makes it a little bit harder. Where the Jhin will shine, though, in contrast, is when you get out in the mid game and you actually can play towards with your ultimate, right? We were speaking about long range. You get the Corki missiles, you get the call of the Forge Guard, you get the curtain call. It's all about layering the long range that the enemy can't really capitalize on.
And it feels like, in contrast to what we've maybe seen previously, where a lot of teams are having answers towards this Corki. For Vitality B, it's been this Silas that they've been picking up. For some other teams, for example, we saw Misfits Premier able to bring out this, artillery mage style. I don't really feel like the enemies have been able to find an answer for this, and I feel like Corki Unmatched is a champion we see really take over a lot of games recently.
I think Diplex is the only one we've really seen it from with the Silas, but we'll get into that much or in a bit, as we just have to play this introduction video. We'll be right back for the game.
We are on to the Rift now for our Game 4 of the day, our highly anticipated matchup between BDSA Academy and LDLC. LDLC undefeated. They rounded out their week, their round robin 1 during that Super Week, got that 3-0, 9-0 now, standing atop of the LFL standings. BDSA Academy, they brought in X-Matty today. They brought in a little bit of extra firepower to, taking their LEC AD carry down. What kind of ramifications and what are you expecting to see out of this game?
I mean, I might get some flack for this, but generally having Matty here is a little bit of an upgrade in terms of crowning. The only thing I'd say is that Dreamer Ace and Matty obviously don't have that inbuilt synergy that, but Crowny and Dreamer Ace has been able to get for themselves. I know I have Upset on my mind. It's probably because K-Corp lost earlier. But either way, it's going to be interesting on that front.
Absolutely. I feel like X-Mat has actually been kind of the victim of a few kind of, fan narratives I'm not necessarily
I agree.
a fan of.
Honestly, I agree. I think that
X-Matty's
whenever
not
the
been
fans
nearly
get
as bad as he gets flacked.
Exactly. Whenever the fans gets the chance to kind of just dump on X-Matty, they'll do it. And I generally feel like the 2v2 laning phase he's had in the LEC so far has been one of the best laning phases out of all teams. And you can
listen up,
deny
guys.
me if you want to.
That's coming from an LEC analyst, so you know he's telling the truth.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've been doubted, I'll tell you that much. But it would be the first time I was wrong. Either way.
Speaking of people who don't doubt people that they know, actually, shout out to I was actually having some correspondence recently. Yike's dad is actually quite a prominent viewer of the LFL English broadcast.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah, it's really nice. I was just talking to him about it as well, and it's really I was talking to a little bit about him. He's just talking about how supportive he is of his son's career and how he tunes into every game. He was literally talking to me about his favorite game is Game 2 versus AGO Rogue at the UU Masters semi-finals. How involved is your dad?
Honestly, do you want me to trauma dump, or are we just moving forward with the game?
Have I set up a trauma dump here? Do I just go over you? My dad is really supportive of me. Sorry, Gorbo, I didn't mean to. Jesus Christ, I've set up an absolute nightmare here. My bad.
It's okay.
This is meant to be a wholesome moment. Speaking of wholesome moments, Dream Race finds a hook here. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it, I don't mind. But yeah, shout out to Yikes Dad. Det är väldigt bra att han kickar med när han sen spelar. Yeah, bring in some Swedish.
Wait, do you speak a little bit? I suppose the languages, how similar are they from each other in terms of Danish and Swedish?
Actually, Swedish and Danish are kind of similar. I used to work at a bakery where I understood my Swedish customer and they understood me. So it's not fully the same language, but you understand kind of tangents of what you need to in a conversation.
Well, you actually promised us earlier, because we were talking about this being we're going to exchange phrases spoken. You said that keeping the tongue inside the mouth was quite a well-used Danish phrase. Have you got any more Danish phrases to us for Game 4?
Yes, there is owls in the swamp.
There is owls in the swamp. What does this mean?
There's owls in the swamp, which kind of means that there's something wrong. There's something wrong at the moment. If there's owls in the swamp, then there's something wrong.
Oh,
actually, sorry. No, it's way weirder. There's owls in the soup. There you go.
There's owls in the soup.
In the soup.
I'll be using that one. I'm going to work that in. Right, guys, keep a track on me, the play-by-play over here. Going to be trying to working in owls in the soup at some point during this cast. It could come soon, it could come later, but we're going to be keeping a track on that. Speaking of keeping a track on the junglers so far, I feel like we said, Yike, going for that pretty standard pathing. He's not got on his famous enemy side second rotation ward that he normally goes for. But instead, going a little bit slower at this time. Those Krugs are still available for him, obviously. Going to be second rotation Krugs going to be spawning up there. Shio in response, and going around about the same pace.
Yes, and I think that from the side of Kha'Zix, we will just be seeing the Gordringer Kha'Zix, where you go the not max, but you'll evolve it as the first ability from the side of Kha'Zix, because I think it's up to 80 and 90% slow you actually get from it when it hits. So it's very potent into composition that had melees that wants to walk forward, and here I'm talking about the Trundle and the Camille, of course, to kind of persuade them from closing the gap there is between you and your long-range carries.
I feel like the kind of... Talk to me about this Swain, because I feel like it's a champion we keep seeing. It was a real champion. I know that when 12.10 initially hit, it was something that we were really looking forward to seeing a lot of. In the LFL, where they're kind of slow to pick it up, but as we kind of go through the weeks more and more, we're starting to see it more and more. What does it need to thrive? Because we speak about it quite often being a counter into lower range compositions, but I don't think necessarily that's what LDLC have built here.
I don't think so necessarily either. It's got a little bit of kind of both to go for it. I think that once again, the LDLC composition really shines when they get to be the first on the objective, right? When you force the enemy to walk into the Corki Rockets, into the Jhin, into the Own Ultimate, that's why the games become really difficult to pilot. Well, BDSA, though, they do have separate win conditions as well. They have a side lane in the likes of Adam that is going to be outscaling Ragnar on the Own. It's going to take some time before that happens, probably 2 items in general, but that is certainly a win condition and a pressure point that you'll have later into the game. And there is still team fights to play for. If BDSA get to be the first on the objective too, them turning a fight with Nautilus coming in, the follow-up from Swain 2, and of course the bullet time in the background, that will hurt the squishies that you have on LDLC. You only have one remarkable tank, and that is Ragnar on the Own. Everyone else will get blown up if they get caught by CC.
See, Adam Ishio has started up that dragon, still ticking down. He's taking quite a lot of damage from it, which might be a little bit dangerous for him if he chooses to then keep up the aggression on it. See, Yike is in the area. Mid lane priority is going to mean that this dragon just goes the way of BDS Academy. They're going to get that early dragon, try and build towards a win condition, but I feel like a slower paced game is really quite beneficial for LDLC.
I think that it's fine. I mean, once again, the more you can scale with the Corki, the happier you are, but at the same time, it's not like BDSA is going to be unhappy picking up a Drake for themselves. If they keep these objectives going as early in the game as they have, right? This is a very early Drake coming through at the 6-minute mark. Well, all of a sudden, we're looking at a soul fight at potentially pre-25 minutes. And pre-25 minutes, you won't be at your strong point as Corki yet. So BDSA is still following track in terms of what they want to do and what they can do on the bottom side of the map. And I think they worked well with the priority in the beginning as well. You can see Maddie, he's already been back for Serrated Dirk, so he's not going to be sad about the laning situation either. Despite being a few seers behind, it is a wave pushing into him.
Absolutely, he's definitely spoken about him being a player that we wanted to highlight and bring attention towards. Obviously, taking a little vacation from his LEC. We can't imagine he's too happy about having a few more games added onto his schedule, or maybe he does, I don't know. Really spoken to him before, but definitely rising to the occasion so far in terms of being in this matchup, being present.
Well, King Matty is, of course, what he used to be called in the region back when he was playing on K-Corp. King Matty.
King Matty.
You had Prince Adam and King Matty. Those were the two players. And, well, now they're back on the same team here. So, if you're an old K-Corp fan, you're probably a little happy about this reunion between royalty. Of course, having that back-to-back European Masters run back in 2021. No one is going to be forgetting that one for a very long time, making history there. Unfortunately,
and you know
of
what
course,
the best
not been
thing
able.
we've got to connect the metaphor even more.
Go
the
for
prince and the king are back, but the crown is gone.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
Suddenly, none of them has a crown to be working with. I mean, Adam was kind of close until he wasn't. Now, on the top side instead, objective has been started up by Shio. Movements coming through the entirety of the map. Great pillar.
It's a nice little pillar there that means that Shio doesn't get caught up too much, and I think with the amount of resources that have been dedicated towards his top side, LDLC should be fine here, just getting those plates on Exakit, get those waves in. X-Matty's roamed up here. You've got that man advantage. You get that mid lane prior, you get that bot lane prior. You're fine trading this gold.
I think for sure, but you're missing some plates down towards the bottom side. That's a big wave as well that Exakit's been able to crash. So Matty, it gives him the investment of getting the Rift Herald, but we need to see this investment pay off too. right? I mean, Rift Herald, you know, it's kind of like the stock market, Jake. You never really know what you're going to get until, well, it finally happens.
You're a trader these days.
I should be, but I'm not.
Imre's going to find a Q. He does find the blue buff instead, though. Yike gets the smite down onto it. Has used the ultimate to find his way a little bit out of here. Dreamace is going to have a hook in a few seconds or so. Dos and Co. have to be careful. Flashes all available. They've made their way out of here, but it looked a little bit dangerous for a second or so. But, you know, the market is dangerous.
It definitely is. You know, they can go up and down. So far, a little bit of an upside for LDLC. Looking like all green so far in terms of investing in the LDLC stocks. On the opposite end, not bad. Pretty neutral. Just keeping at a normal curve. But once again, Rift Herald has to get used somewhere.
Adam might fancy a lucky dip here. He's bought the dip here. He's going to be engaging onto Ica. It's going to be a pump and dump in terms of resources they find onto LDLC. 2 kills might be going the way of Rika. Turret does take him out in response. Ragnar is there for the rotation. So 1 for 1.
Yeah, but quite a few resources. Adam Flash goes. Rika Ghost and Flash gone as well. Ica does have to expend the Flash himself, but all in all, they don't lose too much about it. And you can see they wanted to get a mid lane pickup here from BDSA. They wanted Ica to die, then be able to pick up the Rift Herald and just get some plays for themselves. They weren't able to fulfill that play just due to very good movement and answering from LDLC. So the game stays at a kind of even footing with a small gold lead to LDLC.
I think important to note is where that gold went for the side of BDS Academy. It's obviously the first blood has gone the way of Rika. We saw him there in a very powerful position between those 2 tier 1 and tier 2 turrets in the mid lane. Obviously having that, he doesn't even have that much of a gold lead, but I feel like him getting a little bit of an advantage here could be big for the composition. What does that do for them though?
I mean, right now it doesn't do all too much, of course, into what plays into the game. If you can exponentially grow that gold lead, no matter a lot, which of course they would love to see from themselves. This Rift Herald, though, on the opposite end of the spectrum now can be used as a pressure point, moving towards that second Drake. It is spawning in small 37 minutes. BDS have been pushed in the mid lane and in the bot side, but if they wanted immediate pressure, you could always just drop Shelly in the mid lane, move members down. Adam has teleport advantage as well, albeit he can't use it on a ward. He can just move down there physically himself and then TP back to top lane if a push would come back from Ragnar.
I think that's an important thing to note. Obviously, Ragnar being in that mid lane, obviously the nature of the matchup as well. He has picked up a kill for himself, but is coming somewhat of a CS deficit. I think after this wave, only going to be around about down 10 CS or so. I think it's important to draw attention to as well is the fact that Shio does have that Rift Herald. Obviously, we're coming down to the last 2 minutes and 30 of where that is going to be utilized, and with this Dragon available as well, you'd imagine that BDS Academy want to continue that lead. They obviously have the Pro in the mid lane, but Ica with this package, is it really, do LDLC have a chance to contest it?
I mean, they might have now because it's a 4 versus 4 situation. I think it's a little bit of a mistake not forcing the play with Adam, just due to the fact, yes, he was going to lose a little bit of CS, but you could always just TP up towards the top turret because Ragnar had to get a slow push going. Now you kind of allow BDS to play on even footing here. And obviously as BDS, you didn't want this. You wanted to be able to keep the stacking going on the Drakes.
X-Matty's getting stopped from getting in here. Look towards Dos. Dos is going to stop him getting into the foray here. There's a little time. Oh, Shio just walks in and takes it. Wow. The X-Matty getting engaged on. W is out from Yike as well. From Jin, sorry. He's going to be getting caught out there. Obviously a little bit off to the side there. They do get a kill in response, but a wonderful steal there from Shio.
Yeah, not sure what Matty is doing there. Really caught out of position. And Shio, as you said, literally just walks in there. Takes the kill. Now with one member dead, they move in towards the mid lane. They drop the Herald. They get a flash on Ica.
Ica, what are you doing, buddy? You don't have flash there. And I was just thinking, like, is he buying for time? Is he baiting? He obviously walks in there. Kind of Hell's Bells disarray there as he's walked straight into a hook. And it's going to be a further advantage gained by BDS Academy. They're really starting to kind of ramp up in momentum.
Yeah, and that's going to place a lot of value on the second Rift Herald as well. But we talked about that initial first Rift Herald in terms of investment. And, you know, trading the plates and turrets or minions that bend over to Exakick in terms of Matty losing a bit, so far seemed a little bit worth. Ragnar looking for Adam.
Going for quite an aggressive trade here. Yike is here as well. It's a nice ultimate from Adam to avoid. Adam doesn't have that hook shot for a second or so. He's dodged out quite well the CC. Really well played from Adam here, but a flash forward from Yike. Can he find a little bit of extra damage? One more turret shot onto Ragnar will not take him down. And the Prince has fallen.
Yeah, definitely. And that looked like a close affair, almost outplaying that one, Adam. But great turret juggling from LDLC. Solidifies the play for themselves. And now, with the support spotted on the top side of the map, and knowing that Exakick just went for a recall himself, Matty can see if he can at least get one plate for himself down here towards, or one extra rather, down towards this bottom side.
getting a little bit of plates in a similar exchange to how we saw Jim was getting that kind of upper end of the scale here. So we come back and see here, just the Q smite. There's actually not much you can do about that. I think Yike probably just didn't time his Q properly because, you know, obviously you'd have that trade-off there. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen LDLC consolidate a bit more in their position here. But
yeah, I don't know. That's really an objective you should never lose. As Carsage, you should just be able to pick it up. Ica then, I don't think he's ready for this like aggression from Dreamers. Quite frankly, I wasn't either. He sees the pickup immediately, knows Ica doesn't have that flash, and it's an instant punish.
Yeah, Ica, I feel like he's posturing with flash there, but I feel like if they've got the right mind about what that cooldown is, which they obviously should do. Like you're saying, you didn't quite expect the aggression here, but I feel like just contesting that choke against Riptide against 3 champions that can pretty much stop you at any point. Bit overzealous there from Ica, definitely. I think it's a bit of a rare mistake from him there, and it's essentially from that play has led to a mid lane turret for BDS Academy. Yeah,
just solo XP, not I was about to say XP, but solo gold going over to Rika there in that exchange. And now with the mid lane priority, you can get aggressive on towards the enemy red buff. You can take away some of their camps. You can mark your pressure down towards the bot side as well. Once again, Exakick playing Jhin. Very difficult champion in current meta in terms of weak siding, and it's getting punished here.
Yeah, definitely so. You can see him accruing that slight gold lead. That's a slight CS advantage, but BDS Academy now, I like this from them because we've seen them and we've criticised them for being a team that don't really push their advantages too far sometimes when they get them. But now we see them. LDLC make an uncharacteristic mistake, and now they've been pushed out of 2 turrets. They've also been pushed potentially out of 2 Desert. Gale Force out from Exakick. He's trying to find his way out here, going to get slowed up by the W. Let's use that ultimate. It's a bit of a disconnect in terms of their engage here. Expected Dreamers maybe to go a little bit further forward there, but they're scared potentially about the roam down from Ica and also Yike being there.
Yeah, but I feel like this fight shouldn't really be here. It should just about getting the resets to come through so you can play on the top side, play towards that Rift Herald. Now you get to kind of desync your timers a little bit, which I think benefits LDLC, because when they're making their move up towards the top side, they're going to be dancing a little bit around the Herald. They're going to be fighting for priority. And then when they started, well, Drake might be spawning up. And as you can see, 1 minute before that Drake spawns. So it kind of gives them 2 objectives a little too close to each other on the clock. Whereas if you get the resets through 1 minute earlier, well, then you can just pick up the Rift Herald, move towards the Drake immediately. Now you kind of have to play on a more broad map scale.
I agree with you there, Corpork. I think in terms of we look at people now with the map state that it is, with 40 seconds on this Dragon, obviously BDS Academy having the chance to move towards that soul point. There could be a little bit of a fight here. Boss and Yike trying to dissuade Shio and Dream Race from finding themselves too far in the jungle. Nice little pillar into hook combo. It is going to get stopped out from Boss's W.
Is that a combo, or is that just, you know, making it a little more difficult for your teammates?
It's a fumble. It's a fumble, not a combo.
Okay, I was going to say, what a combo. Block his own teammate took. Incredible stuff
it was
from the jungle support duo.
It was almost the knock up onto 2. It was almost the wombo combo, but not quite.
Once again, Rakan very slippery champion, so allows himself to play around that. And obviously the pillar came through from Shio initially to try and stop the mobility from the Rakan. But to go back to the Drake point, as you can see, they're forfeited to give up the Rift Herald. Yike is going to be cross-mapping that instead. There's no way that LDLC can contest this Cloud Drake. So mid lane is pushed in, bot lane is pushed in. They're just going to let Ragnar and Yike take care of the Herald here.
Yeah, well, we've spoken about it today. I mean, I feel like we do give Cloud Drake a bit of flack, but is there utility here in terms of, you know, talk me through the slow resistance, for example, into LDLC's composition? Did they get much utility out of this?
I mean, you get it from the spikes coming through from Kha'Zix when he levels those up. You get it from the initial Ornn ultimate.
Matty has both sums here. That's the flash, but he doesn't flash the Ornn horn. That's just going to mean he flashes away at the end there, and Yike just goes on a killing spree. All from Matty.
Matty definitely not looking comfortable today. I think we can confidently ourselves say that. But as a team, BDSA still stacking up on the neutral objectives. What we're really waiting for LDLC, though, is going to be that package for Icon towards the next one. If he's finished up his 2-item power spike, that's where he'll finally start to do some damage. But I talked about it earlier as well, which was, you know, we're going to have a pre-25 minute streak, and Corky's going to struggle to be at the time where he really wants to be, which is the completion of 3 items. So BDSA still chilling a little bit despite being down in gold here.
Yeah, definitely. I think despite that slight little gold deficit now, slightly being mounted by that, I do think they're on a good position. If they get that soul, obviously it's not just going to be about slow resistance, this is about that ult move speed as well. I believe that's still the case. Walker, correct me.
I'm not sure, like, I don't talk about things that I'm not comfortable in. And as you know, Cloud Drake and I, we're really not good friends.
You're not good friends with him.
Oh no,
Understandable.
definitely not. I mean, me and Hectech Drake are best friends
What
now.
did he do? What did Cloud Drake do?
The problem is, what didn't he do, right? You know, like,
Oh, yeah,
actions
no, I get
speak
you.
louder than word, and I'm just not getting enough action from the Cloud Drake.
I just feel like it's good that you're not giving him the space to be able to harm your life anymore. You're taking time to heal, and
That's
I think
what I
really
mean.
big from you.
Sometimes, you know, you just need to throw something away, right? Like, there's no reason for me to stick around with it. But every now and then, it does still force itself upon me, like we are seeing in this game where the energy has favored the Cloud Drake. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of those Drakes, BDSA taking control of the river, double ping ward. Classic coming through from LDLC, but it is still BDSA with the tempo advantage, or the map pressure rather, where you can see that on the side of LDLC, they just keep Ike in a lane, try to scale him off, give him as much farm as possible, and just let him be a threat on the Corki.
Yeah, I think it's important that as we see Corki obviously going to be reaching up to that Muramana mark, only about 6 mana away from it, a few more missiles will do it. Would it be fair to say he's reached that power spike now? Obviously, he doesn't have that Sorks for the extra magic pen, but I feel like with the 2-item spike, going to be able to dish out quite a lot of damage.
It's still a lot of damage. It's not the power spike you want on Corki for sure. Like, this is not your ideal situation where you were going to be fighting for potential soul. Having that, you know, Sorks and, you know, build towards the third item is really where the champion gets disgusting with the poke, and why it has the priority in draft that, you know, it so often has.
I really like the prescience of Mate with the blue ward here to kind of spot out the little play there. I think it's more he's just utilizing. It's one of the things when you get that blue ward, you just get as much temporary vision out as possible. If you're not going to be using it to spot out many objectives, he just luckily gets the added bonus of being able to spot out a potential play that's being set up there.
Now, once again, speaking of a broader map situation, Baron has been spawned on the map. Not to say that there's a quick Baron on LDLC, because there's really not. You have a Jhin as an AD carry, really never shreds this. Definitely not the likes of Kalista or Jinx that we've seen in the past. But just keeping that warded a little bit, keeping it as a threat too, with the pink ward suddenly being put on it by BDSA, is always something that LDLC will have to take into account as well if they start to get too bot heavy. So I like the fact that BDSA is just excelling their pressure everywhere, not just in one place. Bot lane is slowly pushing in. Topside Adam is coming through. You garner mid lane priority now, and you can hover your members up towards the top side, which in turn then just forces Ragnar to back off. So you just continue the macro play going. You get small trades here and there, and it's working out for BDSA. There's really no pushback coming through from LDLC.
See Yikes use this mid lane Rift Herald here just to try and get this mid lane control. Obviously, we saw previously due to the sins of Ica.
Well, that's the pushback.
Yeah, that is the pushback. Yeah, saw earlier that that mid lane turret had fallen. They're not going to quite manage to get it, but it's gone quite low now. A revisit will garner than that. Right, see away from this. Actually did get the turret in the end there.
And they did manage to pick it up here, and they're definitely not a bad shout. But the thing is, their reset timers are going to be a bit off tempo. You can see they're still being stopped here. If they can stop Yike, that would be huge. They don't spot him out. But still, Exa kick, going for the red buff, will pick up the mid lane wave. I don't know if he's in a comfortable situation with the items. Ica back in base currently, picking up a package. He's picked up a stopwatch rather. It's not broken yet. So he can dive in with a package and just create space. Dawes, though, might be getting caught.
Doss might be in a bit of a difficult position here. Has that flash available and the quickness into stasis now? How much time can be borne? But I feel like going into the stopwatch here just means that you just line up Adam to do so much here. And now LDLC are at a deficit in this fight. Look if they choose to take this and it goes wrong, it could be really, really bad for them.
Yeah, trying to play around with the poke, casting spikes, the poke as well from Ica, but already down to 4 rockets. And now Yike has to be a hero with the steal.
Has to be. There's a lot of damage. Jhin does come out. It's a package from the side. Ike's gone in quite aggressively. Goes into stasis afterwards. It's going to be Yike who picks up the dragon. Matty's chunked out of the fight. Extra kick flashes forward. He's found a fight here. Ike with a big package. They can't quite manage to find Rika though. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's getting so much sustain. Yike's out, but gets stunned up. Rika over the wall is flashed. Ragnar's gone in as well. They're getting caught up in this fight. Can they try and find Rika? They can. Shears off to the side of the wall as well. If they can find one more here, this could be detrimental in terms of the dragon that can be found. Yike needs to try and stun up here. Ragnar with a good E. It's a good stun over the wall here. Yike might be able to find Shio. Yike might be able to get a little bit more here. Oh, the cooldown's available. Ragnar. They're not going to be able to get Adam, but LDLC navigate the fight wonderfully.
Oh, jungle support duo coming in clutch here. Doss and Yike, they find the trust in each other. They just dive in. And with the Goredrinker, Yike able to sustain the damage, find the pickup with the raw damage, and really save that fight there. If Adam picks any more kills than he already got there, with the shutdown in the singular kill. That could have been a real tricky situation. Now with Shio dead, Rika dead, they're looking like they want to bait the Drake, but Ika might get caught.
Matty again caught out. He's going to be taking so much damage. I think he's just dead to pack it to an R here from Ika. And time and time again, you can see X-Matty, the new addition to this roster, obviously. It's a synergy diff. I mean, he's just not managing to gel well with the rest of the roster in terms of being able to find himself in the correct place at all the times, and he's just getting picked apart time and time again.
5 versus 5, or 5 versus 4 rather. Do you want to look for this one? BDSA looking.
Shio gets knocked up here. Rika's off to the side as well. Feel like LDLC don't massively need this. On enough from the previous exchanges. Stop that soul point. Now can return back to base. This has popped that Shirelli. They're looking on Adam here. Like slows him. The on does land actually. Although Adam went in there to find a little bit of a shimmy shammy, he gets taken out and sent back to base.
That's the long range engage we talk about from beyond there, and Adam just caught in the open while his team is still clearing up their red side jungle towards that Baron. Going all wrong for BDSA towards this late game. It looks so clean towards the earlier stages, but now the items finally are starting to come through from LDLC. They're fighting back in this game, and we thought he was going to be through Iker, but actually it's come through DOS and Yike with some stellar team fighting. DOS and Yike just really, it's like we said before, it's that synergy diff, just tiptoe dancing around the opposition. Let's just really have a look at this. The package here, I think initially looks a bit suspect in terms of what it actually achieves. But he goes in, he's able to do quite a bit of damage to Matty here. Matty has to flash away. And this means that Matty's really out of the fight. He's not able to find that bullet time without being taken out. Exakick's able to flash in afterwards. But it's not necessarily LDLC's fight that they've won here. You can see Rika's doing so much to stop Yike from being able to find any sort of damage here. And as Rika flashes over the wall here, this is where you think, oh, this looks slightly bad. If Dreamrace can find this engage off to the side here, you see, oh, if they find another kill here onto Ragnar, for example, this could be very much BDSA Academy taking that Baron here. We do have to stop away out of this replay here. Adam was teleporting into the foray here. Has to be over the wall almost immediately. Straight into another team fight. Both teams here not too afraid to back down. They are ready to pull the trigger. And honor items have gone through as well. You can see Ica now sitting with that Leandri's Anchorage or Torment, whatever they call it while it's upgraded. Building towards that Ravenous Hydra, which is of course where it gets real scary. Items being back here for as well, Exakick. It picks up a click quote. Not just the Infinity Edge just yet, but still slowly but surely getting those key items, and they are sitting at a 3k gold lead. Map state, quite even between the two teams as well. Outer turrets have been taken, but the big difference between them right now is the neutral objectives. 1 minute for the Cloud Drake. That probably will be our next team fight scenario.
I feel like Ragnar being able to be out on the map here quickly means that if he chooses to, he can just get that heavy priority, build that wave up, and mean that obviously someone will have to answer it in response. You see Adam backing now in response of that action being precipitated. Ica doesn't have the teleport, so he's going to have to kind of navigate his way down, choose how many waves he wants to take out. I think it is just going to be the one into the reset, into, I believe he'll have the package now, around about soon, Goldborg, no?
Yeah, it usually is the 5-minute cooldown, so whenever he picked it up earlier, but I actually wonder if he actually has got it. I don't remember if there's going to be a minimap displacement of it in the client. I know there is when you play the Corki itself, but so far, Ica still not picked it up. 20 seconds for it. Yikes.
A little exchange here. I believe he did use the ultimate there. Getting to a point, yeah, definitely did. Getting to a point now where, like, with that empowered W, he gets towards, like you said, that intense slow reduction. Obviously, this Academy, here is the package. Here it comes in, and he's a little bit late to the fray. He's waiting for his teleport cooldown. He does have it available now. Where will he choose to prime it? I believe that bot wave, which does a little bit closer here. Going to be playing front to back here. Our LDLC. Yikes, looking for that steal that he's gotten time and time before. Shio, quite low here. You can see off to the side here. Oh no, it can again. Yike gets it. Time and time again, he comes up clutch. Package does come in, takes out Adam. Ica over the wall now. Going to be cutting off X-Matty. He's in the face now in the foray. Q does go down. One more, I will do it. It's not quite nice to land X-Matty, but look at the fray, look at the front here. It's going to be Dreamrace getting packed up here. Ica takes out X-Matty off to the side as well. Rika in the Swain ult. He has to try and stop people from getting to Shio. LDLC have run over this team, and very much now for BDSA Academy. The Owls are in the swamp. For them, they are in trouble. Yike ease forward. He takes the ace here. It's another steal for Yike. So quick on the fingers.
And I appreciate the Danish call out there as well, with the Owls in the Swamp, of course, but now reset can come through. Still long death time is 20 seconds on Shio. Could try to turn towards the Baron if they want to, but so far the resets are very slow, and I don't think they're going to go on towards it immediately. It could be contested by BDSA. You don't have the package, but yike. Once again, the man coming in clutch, stolen 2 objectives in a row now on Soul Point. Really just getting that revenge from Shio, who stole the second Drake earlier in the game.
Yeah, you know, Shio moved in earlier, and then Yike just gave him a little bit of a taste of his own medicine in the last 10 minutes or so. This guy just comes up so clutch. We talked about him doing it time and time again. He's going to find DOS here as well. Sorry, not Dream Race here. Executes he wanted, takes the kill. Execute might fancy his chances with that final shot. Might find X-Matty here, but with Dream Race being taken out here, it's going to be in a tier 2 turret, and I expect them to just set up some vision here, make it so that BDS Academy have to move a step too far forward. If they find another pick, they can turn towards that Baron.
Yeah, ornament item of Gale Force has come through too. You got the Infinity Edge too. That 4th shot from Exekick is going to be absolutely executing you. And I think this is where you need to be scared of the range. Iker really doing a lot of damage now on the Corki. Almost on towards that level 16 as well. And then of course we just mentioned him. Man, down in the bottom lane, Exekick on the Jhin. Had a rough start. Speaking of rough times.
Massy. Time and time again, just left to the wayside. I say left to the wayside. It's pretty much of his own volition that he runs into a lot of these scenarios here. 1 and 6 now. Not having the game of his life. So you see Adam trying to find something against Ragnar here. There's an exchange on the top side as well. They found Dream Race as well. It just continues to go bad to worse for BDS Academy.
Shio moving down towards the bot side. If they show with 2 members, they just completely forfeit that Drake. Adam should be winning on the side lane. Yeah, there we go. Not even sure why Shio is here. Don't think he's going to do too much for it.
I don't think Shio ever needs to be here. This is desperation for BDS Academy for me. I feel like just they know that potentially they can't take the Baron. They're going to try and take out Ragnar. Ragnar's fine being the sacrificial lamb. It's obviously a little bit of gold in the pocket of Adam, but LDLC just running away with this game now. You talk about that, it's been such a disciplined team, but if you give them an inch, they will take a mile.
This is where Corki starts to be disgusting. You pick up the Baron, you finish up the Venomous Hydra, you're building towards your Void Staff as well. Iker, level 16. It's going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage. You get the follow-up as well from Exekick, long-range ultimate from Ragnar. I mean, we're in for a gun show right now. This is all going to be all about the beauty of sieging with Baron with these compositions. You pretty much never want to be engaged on here. You want to just poke your enemy down, wait for the right town, and then just pull the trigger with that own ultimate, or DOS just moving himself in there.
So Yikes wormed his way into the jungle here. Going to be hitting over the wall here. A little bit of damage onto Adam. He's gone for that full bruiser build. This is not like kind of your damage Kha'Zix. This is more just sustain tank, drain tank, or whatever. Just you've got that death stance as well. They're gonna have to burn so much to get rid of him, I feel like. But he's just able to kind of flit in and out of these fights and exchanges.
They're just
It's gotta move.
It's just gonna be that simple. Move in the mid lane there, have Ragnar rotate up if he wants to. You're playing on this top wave as well. Having aggressive vision, you catch the rotations out if they were able to go through their red side jungle. And you just create so much space. Like these turrets, look at that damage.
So much damage being done onto that. That's going to be the tier 2 turret dropping in favour of LDLC. They move towards this third turret. This is really important that BDS Academy hold on to this, because I feel like if LDLC can crack open this space and play that multiple lane style, Shio, it's away from this little exchange here. But I feel like if the base gets cracked open, that is the beginning of the end for BDS Academy, because if they're able to play multiple lanes...
Yeah, it's crazy. Like half HP of Matty gone after just one. I'm not even sure it was the red rocket, so even more reason to be scared. Now, probably just get broken down. There's only the inhibitor to go for. Mid lane pushed in by Ragnar. He's going to be joining them. They can continue the sieging. Let's just see what Iker can do with these rockets.
He's got a real, he's got a task ahead of him in terms of just whittling down and starving out the HP bars of BDS Academy. We do see that Redemption's being used. Dreamers tried to find engage here, but he's met by Yike entirely. Has to go into the stasis here. It's Jhin coming out, doing a lot of damage. Take out Jhin. The fourth shot comes down, hits onto Shio. Rika, a lot of sustain being found, but the inhibitor dropping it for favour of LDLC here. They might fancy their chances going a little bit further ahead, with Dream Race obviously dropping down. And take the second inhibitor. Rika doesn't have that sway not available. He's going to get taken out by Exekick. That's an extra kick to the teeth of BDS Academy. Teleport does come in from Ragnar as well. They might fancy their chances here. They're onto the Nexus turret. Lost has used the quickness but not found much. Might get taken out, has to flash away. Stick ultimatum is used here. Adam's going to drop down as well, but that's X-Matty getting taken out as well. LDLC really just dominant fashion. They just storm through the game. They're going to take out Shio as well. He has to flash away. One more will do it. Ika's in the Nexus fountain. Take out the Nexus turret, and this should be the game goal, Borg.
No, it's definitely. There's not much else to go for here. Death time is still long. Rika Mati waiting for them to spawn, but I don't think they'll ever get back into this game. Few dances to come through. Victory dance for LDLC. They pick up the 10th win of the season. Oh, 11.
The 10th win.